Hello, everybody. This is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters Cryptid of the Week video. As always, I just do these randomly in between certain sessions. In this case, while I'm wrapping up your current aliens and UFO suggestions, let me go ahead and I'll mix this one in here. And in this case, it has to do with yet another random entry there in the cryptids.wikia.com website that this time landed on yet another lake monster. So I know these are pretty popular here within my channel. A lot of fellow subscribers and other fans love these type of monsters. So lo and behold, here's this one here again for your viewing pleasure. And what's interesting about this case is that this is a creature that is found within one of the most hardest to reach locations in the world. You know about that more here in a minute. Not only the location itself, but the specific geography that it's found in too also makes it very, very hard. Just goes to show you can pretty much point your finger to any spot on the map in the world, and there's a good chance that you'll find yet another creature here that is looking to be rediscovered. And rediscovered it has been. So many witnesses have seen this creature, but it has to do with this. You're looking at a representation of it now. It goes by various names, but I'll go ahead and I'll call it here as the Guai Wu. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the fascinating information associated with this lake type monster. So what is this Guai Wu? Well, I was mentioning just a minute ago, it's found in one of the most hardest to reach places in the world. You'd basically have to go right in between the border of China and North Korea. So anyone that knows the geography of the world knows that that's already one of the hardest places to travel to, let alone wander about here in this world. And then when you go to that location, you go to an area there known as the Guai Wu Mountain. And then right on top of that area, that's where you'll have this lake that you're looking at here. It's called by various names too, but it's known as Heaven Lake as its most common term. And the reason why is because it's actually the highest crater lake found within the world. A crater lake is a lake that's formed within the collapse of a volcano. So when a volcano erupts, there's a large bowl that forms afterward if the volcano collapses in of itself. And apparently this happened here sometime in 900. It's one of the years in between 900, and that's where the lake filled itself with water, and then it became Heaven Lake. And so that's why, again, this is a pretty hard area, not only because it's in between the middle of China and North Korea, but you have to go to a very high escalation in order to reach this lake. And even then, because of the way the bowl is shaped, you're going to have a tougher time getting inside it. But that's where this creature is specifically located. And the way it looks like is this. There's various versions of it too. It's been described as being something along the lines of a seal-like creature, something bigger than that though, even bigger than an ox in of itself. And the way its head looks has also different versions. So for example, in one part it looks like your average seal, but in another more creepier part, it actually has the head of a human. I mean, imagine that. Imagine seeing this thing coming at you as large as it is, and then all of a sudden it has the face of a human, probably even the expressions of a human, smiling at you or looking at you all angry like. That would definitely be very, very unsettling. And then it has a longish neck, almost considered swan-like. And then other things that people point out are the fact that it has those fins for use for easy swimming, and then one long tail as well towards the end, and that's essentially how it's able to move about within this lake. This lake is no joke too. It's about 10 kilometers long and about 700 feet deep. So this would be a perfect environment for a creature like this, especially as large as it is, to be able to be traveling around within that area. And it seems like it would be a captive creature too, considering the bowl-like shape associated with that lake. There would be, and my guess, unless someone else points it out, somewhere else in the comments, there wouldn't be any area for it to swim to. So ever since that time period, since the year presumably somewhere in 900 when this crater lake was formed, up until now, that's where this creature has existed. Others point out, though, to this, apparently there was yet another nearby volcano that erupted around 1702, and apparently it was so close that it should have obliterated any life that was within this lake. By the way, another name of this lake for Heaven Lake is known as Tianchi Lake. Interestingly enough, this creature is also known as the Lake Tianchi Monster, but I couldn't really find any other information I guess showcasing the two names together. So I'll just leave that up for the air, at least for now. But yeah, when that volcano erupted, it was supposed to destroy everything, but people presume that this creature actually survived. I remember I was mentioning earlier that it's been thriving ever since then within that lake because there's been so many witnesses. In fact, get this, there has not been not only 100 or 200, but over 400 witnesses at this very lake. So if you want a really good chance, it seems, of seeing a cryptid in action, then that's where you'll get to go. You'll get to see it by going to this specific lake. As hard as it is to get to, apparently the reward will more than pay off, because once you get there, you're going to have a pretty good chance of seeing it. And here's the interesting things associated with this creature and its multiple sightings. Number one is it can apparently be seen by itself, because apparently back in 1903, there was at least one of them, something that was considered a large buffalo-like creature that attacked 3 people that were hanging out by that lake. In fact, it was shot 6 times no less, but it survived and it retreated back in the water. So that's at least an individual circumstance, like an individual monster. But then cut to 1962, and then that's when someone that was looking through some kind of telescope into the lake saw 2 of these creatures, and then apparently they were chasing each other. Who knows if this was something along the lines of a battle between mating creatures, or in this case, people. These creatures were instead fighting for someone else. But either way, though, they were at least attacking each other, and there were 2 of them within that circumstance. And the way it happened was apparently more than 100 people ever since that time period also saw at least 2 of these creatures there, again moving about within the area as well. And interestingly enough, if you cut to 2007, there was a circumstance involving 6 of these creatures, 6 of them all at once, that were moving about within the lake itself. This apparently happened on September 6, 2007, and there was a Chinese TV reporter who apparently captured not just still photos, but maybe even video, a 20-minute video of this encounter specifically, and you could see these 6 creatures all swimming in parallel from one to each other. He stated what was interesting is that they could swim really, really fast. In fact, his estimate was that they were swimming almost as fast as yachts would, and that they would all disappear and reappear in tandem, in unison. And so exactly at the same pace as each other, and the way he described it was almost like somebody was giving these things orders. So it goes to show maybe that there's this kind of hierarchy associated with this Guai Wu monster. Like there's at least one quote-unquote leader within this group of monsters, and then you would have the rest following in tandem. You'll always have something like that associated in nature. Just look at your average set of animals, or any other type of animals there in Africa, like lions and so forth, that they'll always have someone that's there giving orders, not necessarily orders, but at least leading the flock, and then others will follow in unison. And then interestingly enough, this may be a circumstance where he saw actual wings within these creatures. If so, that would lead just at least to another aspect. Maybe there's another way that this creature is able to move about. I don't think necessarily flying, but at least figuring out some way to maybe get out of the lake and then move about towards the land in a more easier manner. If it truly has a seal-like body, you can see footage right now of any average seal moving about, let's say on land, and you'll see they have a hard time, don't they, moving about. I mean, they have to essentially undulate their body multiple times just to move a tiny fraction of a piece of land. But in the water, perfect, absolutely perfect movements because of their design. So maybe these wings are able to do something else in terms of helping it otherwise. But that's pretty much it. There hasn't really been much other associations with this Guai Wu and other type of encounters. As many witnesses as people have had, there's also been rare as far as those attacks, other than the one I mentioned that happened early in the 1900s. Even then, I'm guessing that this creature might have even been provoked, that it may have been, let's say, found by these people, whoever encountered them, and then put into some kind of corner, and then that's when it decided to do something about it and then tried to escape. That's the impression I get, at least with so many encounters and so few attacks, that it's mainly just something that'll just run away instead of, let's say, fighting altogether and disappear afterward, which makes sense. That would essentially allow it to live as long as it has within that isolated lake and be able to do so in a very successful manner. But again, if anyone has any more information information, anything else I might have missed, please let me know. It's going to sound rare. It's going to sound pretty hard, but if anybody has been to that lake as well and able to take pictures or video or seen or heard things, weird associations with that lake and this creature, then please post those comments below as always. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.